Hey everybody, quick blog update to get you through not only for this week, but talk about this weekend as well. We got a lot of events going on this weekend with the Heart Walk and everything else going on. So I'll try to explain what I know at this point for the weekend, and we'll hopefully get some more details as we go through each day. All right, as we usually do, take a look at the severe risk. As you can see here, it's not a problem today, not a problem tomorrow, or even into Wednesday. Nice and quiet, not really hardly a cloud in the sky, just a few clouds, that's about it. So nice and quiet weather here locally. So let's get right into the visible satellites as of this morning. And the reason why I want to show that is look carefully. You can see the valley fog along some of the rivers this morning show up from space. It's looping over and over. We had the same scenario that was located right around the Salt River and the Ohio River even earlier today. It's even more dramatic on a wider view. You can still see where some of the valleys here in the mountains, East Kentucky and Tennessee, still some of that stratus holding tough. It's trapped in the Smokies in some areas and the Appalachians. So a lot of drivers through there, especially on I-40, heading through that area, probably are running into some of those fog banks. For us, though, I mean, just really a nice clear day. We're up to 61. We were 10 cooler than that this morning in Louisville. 51 was our low. So it's an easy future cast. It's a lot of ups and downs with dry air. It heats up cooler and it heats up faster and cools faster versus humid air. And we don't have a lot of humidity to talk about. So that's what we're talking about. Big, ranges basically from morning to afternoon. This afternoon, mid to upper 70s expected. We'll drop back down tonight. It says 49 here in Louisville. I think closer to that 52 to 55 degree range, a little more likely. Still a few 40s though expected for tomorrow morning. Tomorrow, we get over that 80 degree mark with some 80s on the map. And then as we head into Wednesday, we'll do it again. Mid-80s likely would be in the pop on the map. So each and every day will gradually increase that range as we go through the week. But keep in mind, as the week goes on, we eventually will add the moisture, and the dew point will go up as well. So the ranges will begin to become less extreme. Your lows at nighttime will begin to catch up with the ranges for the afternoon, if that makes sense. All right, I wanted to show this. This is a map, and I know it's really hard to read here the way it's drawn. This is the ensemble from the European model, and it shows your highs and lows. And I'm sorry I got cut off here, but this is your 90-degree line, and here's 80, and here's 70. And the models have different ranges of potential. Now, for Friday, it does show potential anyway for us to get very close to that 90-degree mark. Now, I went ahead and went with 90 at this point because of the lack of rain in many locations. The ground is dry. And we still have a decent sun angle. It's not as good as it was in August, but we still have a decent sun angle where I think we very well could get very close to 90 during that time period. And ensembles seem to agree with that. Not much more than that. I mean, 90 looks to be the limit on that end. And then we do see a drop that happens after that, but the potential ranges, which is what these blue lines are, become much more widespread because the further you go out in time, the more uncertainties do exist. All right, so let's talk about this front that we're watching for the weekend. The green is the moisture, basically the humidity, dew points going up, and in some cases, rainfall. We're looking good all the way through Friday, but notice the northwest sections here, the moisture levels do increase Friday. We could see a few isolated showers try sneaking through the Wabash. At this point, we'll keep our forecast dry, though, here on Friday, and that could be the day. If we stay sunny and we don't get clouds from all this, that could be the day we could easily hit that 90-degree mark. Front moves in. And here's the problem. Is the front going to move in and hang out for a while, or is it going to keep on going far enough to the south on Sunday to keep mainly our southern counties, if that, in the rain zone and dry things out for us from the north on Sunday? We would see a pretty good drop in temperature, too, between Saturday and Sunday. So at this point, if you're going to be along or south of the front, chances are you'll be in the 80s. If you're behind it, you may get some sunshine in 70s. But as usually the case, Kentucky is the dividing line and where the front will likely set up. And let me show you the reason why it gets tough to forecast these events. These are called spaghetti plots. Basically, they plot the different models. This is a particular model, and it's in members, or it's ensemble. It gives you the possible solutions that could take place. This is in the short range, where you see the actual yellow line, which is kind of blended in here. It's kind of hard to see that. That is the average of all these squiggly lines. And you see another orange line in through here. And this is the real tropical line that really gets into here when it comes to being the average of where that jet should be at. So, in other words, normally we would see this green line right here. That would normally be where the cold air front would be. The cooler air, located across the northern tier. Where we see this green line, this is usually where we would see the subtropical jet of the best chance of tropical moisture and rain. And usually Louisville would be in between the two, or Kentucky would be, and that's why we usually say September into October is a little more of our dry season. We're usually in between these two jets this time of the year. Well, in the short range, the subtropical jet does begin to lift more to the north, so it's why it's going to get warmer this week. And the colder air is going to be trapped up in here, north of this pink area, if you will. So that's how the week is progressing on the spaghetti plots, and that seems plausible. It seems to be about what the models have been showing. Now, as we enter this weekend, here's where we develop problems. Because, again, it normally says, it's hard to see, I know, but that green line says that's where the cool air should usually be. And this is where the warmer air and most of the moisture should be. And overall, they do agree on that for the weekend, but it's much more of a situation where it's a high pressure that's closed off here to the south, and we've got a series of fronts right along this jet. So, which one is going to win out for the weekend? Is this going to be strong enough, and it'll allow for the front to pretty much get stalled out across the Ohio Valley? Or is the front going to be stronger and this center of high going to be much more weaker into the south, and that would allow the front to push all the way through Kentucky? And you can see we're still getting a lot, especially on the southern part of this, a lot of variance on the possible solutions of where this could end up. A little more better agreement on the actual front from the north, but as far as what could stop the front and hold it at bay or allow it to come through, there's much more uncertainty on the models showing up here. So that's just some of the tools we look at to kind of gauge, all right, how confident are we of getting this front through here into the south? And right now our confidence is low because the ensemble members are pretty spread for that potential here for the weekend. So stay tuned. We'll see if we get these lines a little closer together and give us some more confidence, but that's how it stands for the weekend. And just to play a little fun and games here of how complicated the weather can get down the road, this is a spaghetti plot for the last week of September. Pretty much, you know, it looks like Nemo just got a crayon and had a field day. Yeah, you can definitely tell where there's always problems in the longer term models, and that's why confidence is always low in the longer term. All right, so to summarize, as we head into this weekend, we've got a front that's going to move it in. We've got the warm air being pushed in from the south. Question is this going to move more to the south to allow the front to at least get through Kentucky or all the way into Tennessee? Those are our main issues we got to solve for the weekend. But our problems don't stop there, because for the last week of September, we are noticing that the water is very warm here across the Gulf Stream and the Gulf of Mexico. And if this front were to push to our south this weekend and get itself locked up into this zone, that is going to make the extended forecast quite complicated. Because the Canadian model, which over-intensifies tropical systems quite a bit, does at least pick out the potential for activity to develop. And it's hard to see this map, but here's Kentucky right in here. It is picking out 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 tropical systems toward the end of September. So it's picking up in the late season surge here in tropical activity for the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico especially. That can really complicate things for us when we have cold fronts that move down from the north. And especially if the two want to try to join together. And right now, the only model that really can see how that interaction may play out is the GFS. It does show a strong front moving in. I know automatically you're thinking, oh, this could be severe weather. Yeah, it could be some strong storms, but the best dynamics will be up here. But either way, it shows a strong front, but it also shows a tropical system here off the southeast coast. But look what happens to it right after the front. Well, the front tries to move through, but what happens is this tropical system retrogrades and it becomes cut off. Just an area of low pressure right over the Ohio Valley. The end result will be clouds and showers and much cooler than average temperatures showing up over the Ohio Valley. I mean, some chilly air showing up aloft if that were to happen. So the last week, especially of September, is going to be a complicated one because now we're involved in a lot of heat energy from the tropics, and we're still getting a series of fronts that want to drop down from stronger low pressures tracking across Canada. So the battle is going to be much more complicated as the rest of the month continues. So this week looks quiet. After this week, we've got some headaches and forecasting to nail down. So that's your long, I wouldn't say brief synopsis, but this is a long synopsis of what my thoughts are right now and looking at the longer-term data. But as you all know, that's what I do here in the blog. I look at all the long-term data, I share it with you guys, and it's always fun to see what actually ends up happening. And we'll see what it looks like tomorrow.